Vandenberg School Board of Trustees meeting August 11th, 2025 is now called to order. We will now have roll call. Ms. Dressel.
President Ragland, we have a full board present.
Thank you. As our custom, we will stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are now ready for good news. Please see Mr. Burke.
Thank you very much, President Ragland, members of the board, Superintendent Hoover. Lots of good news here as we get started off with the school year. So we'll go back just before the first week. We did another episode of What's Happening with Dr. Hoover and got a chance to feature the freshman orientation, if you will, put on by Central High School's Link crew. Chris Geiser in the upper right corner, longtime veteran teacher at Central. He's done this forever. And it's just a great way for the upperclassmen to be able to work together and create a really exciting atmosphere for the new students coming in. We know it's a big adjustment and nerves can be high at times for high school freshmen, and so just a great opportunity for Central's Link crew to be able to do that. So really proud of all of them, and was there for a few minutes, and my goodness, they really were putting their heart and soul into making that a great experience. And speaking of that, we also shared just pictures because so many of our schools, we featured Central High School with the What's Happening with Dr. Hoover, but so many of our schools, not just high schools either, really have gotten good at this over the years, putting on back to school, meet the teacher, orientation nights, whatever they call them, just as a way of welcoming students and families. I know I happened to be at an event at K's, and I mean the line went all the way out of the front of the school, and just to see the staff members and the principal meeting and greeting students as they were coming in, and again, just making it such a welcoming environment for them and easing tensions and getting the year started off on the right foot. So appreciate all the work going on by our schools doing that. Last week then with the soft start Monday and then again on Wednesday for the other half of the alphabet, and then everybody on Friday, we posted lots of pictures, and I mean thousands and thousands of views on these. I think people really enjoy seeing these and just seeing the smiling faces of students coming back. And a lot of the pictures also captured staff members who were making our students feel welcome. And so just really a lot of excitement going on. But it's always fun to be able to share these pictures with the community, and you can tell people then are engaging and sharing those pictures because there is so much synergy, if you will, around the start of the school year. So really a fun week. Speaking of fun activities going on in our schools, they've already started. You know, it's always a special time when you're a senior in high school, and so I know Bossy posted this. They did an event Friday morning called a Senior Sunrise, but just a great time too to see already that first week of schools making it just a fun time for seniors where we know so many memories are made. So really glad to see that. And then just making you aware of this because you'll probably see a lot of reminders going on about this. This is our annual registration process that is going on as we speak. What this really is the new modern way of saying what we used to call back to school paperwork. If you remember taking those home as a student, or if you had children in school, you used to get a packet of paperwork that you had to fill out. Now, of course, that's all online, trying to make that much easier for our families. So we have the latest up-to-date information for all of them. So that is going on with lots of reminders going out. And President Ragland, that's it for good news.
Is there any adjustment with the, I guess, change of uniform?
As far as that, I know certainly I did not hear anything negatively about that at all. I had a lot of people say that they really appreciated us listening to the feedback and making that change. And I think they just appreciated the fact it was a little less stressful not having to run around and find different outfits that aren't as easy to find anymore, making that a hardship for some families. And also didn't hear anything about any schools having issues with it, with students returning to more of a traditional dress as well. So I think that's a good news as well.
Thank you. We're now ready to go into public comment. Pat Childers.
President Ragland, let me submit that I expect good news to continue with our one and only speaker tonight, Larry Samples.
Thank you, Mr. Childers. I just came from a Helfrey Park PTA meeting, and Helfrey Park is well represented here tonight. They had a back-to-school picnic 2 weeks ago Thursday, and Dr. Hoover paid an appearance at that picnic. Mr. Owen's there. Of course, he has a son that's a sixth grader there. The principal is here tonight, Mr. Chamberlain. And back in the back, Mr. Alford, his wife is a teacher at Helfrey Park. Well represented here. Mentioned a special employee for the EVSC, 37 years seniority, Lakita Hart. Her title is Assistant to the Athletics Director. I have so much to say about her. I'm going to give you 2 minutes tonight, and then the next time I'm going to tell you what she does for high school track meets. But her responsibilities for the 10 middle schools, she arranges all the schedules, athletic schedules, hires the officials. For the 5 high school athletic directors, she assists them if they need help with officials or scheduling something. She helps the 5 high school athletic directors. And what most people don't know, though, is the Southern Indiana Athletic Conference, where the 5 EVSC high schools plus Mater Dei, Memorial, Castle, Jasper, Vincennes, Lincoln. She's the secretary for that conference. So any conference activities, athletic-wise, revolves around Lakita Hart here at the EVSC. And her family's well involved. Her daughter, Christian, is a teacher at the EVSC. Christian was an outstanding athlete at Harrison High School, played basketball to UV. Her son-in-law, Tyler Schote, is a basketball coach at North. Christian, his wife, is actually the assistant basketball coach. And sometimes you might talk to him, that might be reversed. And he's also the athletic director at North. But the next time, for 2 minutes, I'll tell you what all she does for a high school track meet.
Thank you, Larry, and that's all the speakers we have tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, we are now ready to move into consent items. Dr. Hoover.
Good evening, President Ragland, members of the Board of School Trustees. We have 5 consent items for your consideration tonight. They are 3.01, consideration to approve the minutes of the July 28th, 2025 executive session and regular board meeting. 3.02, consideration of the allowance of payments in the amount of $11,558,665.99. That includes invoices, net payroll, and payroll obligations. 3.03, consideration to approve grant proposals. 3.04, consideration to approve the purchase from extracurricular funds. And 3.05, consideration to approve driver-owned equipment contracts. These consent items are presented for your approval.
Move to approve.
Motion and a second have been made to accept the consent items. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. We're ready to move into personnel. Michelle Williams.
Good evening, President Ragland, members of the board, Dr. Hoover. Tonight's personnel recommendations include the following: retirement, resignations, termination, regular appointments, position reassignments, resignations from extra duty appointments to extra duty, reassignment of administrative appointment, and transfers. These recommendations are presented for your approval.
So moved.
Second.
How are we with our staffing?
We currently have 3 teaching vacancies across the district. However, we do have plans currently in place to cover all of those classrooms while we continue to work to find viable candidates.
Thank you.
So we had a teacher quit the first day of school, is that correct?
We did.
And that teacher got replaced the next day?
That next week, they had interviewed and made a recommendation for that opening.
So in just a few short days,
Yes.
killing it. Thank you, Doctor. You and your team, you and your team, you're killing it. Good job.
Covering with long-term subs that we're doing at this point.
Yes, yep. A couple of them are covered with long-term subs. A couple of them have opted to go with more of an extended term sub while they continue to search for a candidate to make a permanent offer to.
Any other questions, discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor to accept the personnel recommendation?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank you.
We are now ready for District Spotlight. Dr. Hoover.
Yeah, so tonight we will have an update. This has been a busy summer for Steve Scheller and his crew, and so we got some drone footage for you all of some of the facility updates this summer.
We had fantastic input from the North High School administrative team. We came up with the creative design for the turf at Veterans Stadium. We were also able to update the brick pavers at the stadium entrance. We are very pleased to see the progress that has been made on the Wright Stadium project. The contractors have been working throughout the summer in preparation for the start of the football season. The goal is to have this complete by graduation. Work is now underway on the Enloe Stadium project. This project will improve the fans' experience by providing updated seating areas, an ADA wheelchair ramp, and accessible bathroom facilities. The lighting upgrade project, which has been discussed in the past, is nearing completion, and I'm very pleased to announce we are soon to have must-go LED lighting on both the baseball and the softball fields.
That's awesome. That's nice. I love it.
This project was a major renovation to the chemistry lab and classroom space. We worked closely with Paul Fisher, the science department head at Harrison, to design this space to give the students the best environment to learn in. We were able to utilize land that was purchased in the past to expand the parking lot by an additional 21 spaces and also to add one ADA parking space. As you know, over the last 10 years, we've been updating our elementary school playgrounds, and I'm pleased to announce that this year, Scott School has received a new playground. We have also been updating our flooring at the schools. The majority of Perry Heights received carpeting or vinyl flooring. These areas included the hallways, the office, the auditorium, and the classrooms. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Lights over there, Washington Middle, oh, that's really nice for the girls softball.
It is going to be phenomenal.
And then,
For boys too, right?
Yes.
and is the playground, is that ground up tires or whatever, it was hard to
It
tell.
is poured in place, yeah, soft surfacing.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I was on that today. It is really spongy. It's nice, very nice.
It'd be hot too.
It was warm there.
We also did a very small playground at Lodge School that we didn't list on this for early childhood that has the soft surfacing as well. Good.
Steve, in regards to Enloe,
Uh-huh.
are new handrails going to be put up for the steps? Because
Yes,
if
yes,
it gets wet, that
Yes.
concrete can be pretty slick.
absolutely. So it'll all be code,
As well?
yes, code compliant with rise, run on the steps, handrails, ADA accessible.
That area where it comes out at Wright's that you go down the steps, now, is it gonna stay like that?
To where at now, I'm sorry?
Well, it looked like at the top of the pole.
Where there was temporary, you talking about the wood? Yeah, so that's all temporary to access. What they had to do was to build up the concrete for the new bleachers, and that's just to access from the top to where the bleachers are gonna be.
That's what I thought.
Yep. And a temporary handrail, of course, all the way around the top as well.
Thank you, you're doing good.
Thank you.
I know prior to this presentation, I was saying that our fields look awesome. I mean, when we had graduation, I just was very. Any other-
Just want to say thank you very much for not only hearing but listening, of course, to the concerns about at Washington Middle School with the softball field. I drove past there the other day. It looks really, really nice. And I just wanted to know. Red and gray, right?
I got the
Sorry. I have my My school's mixed up. To rearrange the things.
He didn't believe me when I told him we were gonna fill it up with water and make it the Lily King pool.
I'm sorry, I had my schools mixed up. The drone went too fast.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're now ready to move into action items, and we have Tammy Dexter.
Good evening, President Ragland, members of the board, Dr. Hoover. The Office of Special Education recommends approval of the agreement with Relay Hub. Relay will provide direct claiming services to process the district's Medicaid reimbursement claims for direct medical services provided to eligible students under the Indiana Health Coverage Program. Services include a claims information system, electronic claims processing, management reports, and training on Medicaid billing and program oversight. The annual cost is $28,204.32 to be paid from Medicaid reimbursements. This is presented for your approval.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and second have been made to accept the agreement with Relay Hub LLC. Are there any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, and that motion carries. Thank you. We are now ready to move into information item. Joe Erding.
Good evening, President Ragland, members of the board, Dr. Hoover. The Office of Technology is requesting approval to proceed with an important data center upgrade to replace our aging server and storage hardware. The current equipment will soon be unsupported, posing a security and operational risk. The upgrade will enhance system reliability for the next 8 years and consolidates our infrastructure from 7 servers down to 3, thanks partly to the successful migration of our student information system to the cloud. This upgrade also delivers substantial financial benefits, including $130,000 reduction in capital costs compared to the 2018-2019 refresh, and over $26,000 in recurring annual savings from reduced software licensing and maintenance fees. We will be utilizing the Indiana Quantity Purchase Agreement, QPA, for IT hardware and professional services through SHI. The funding source will be the general obligation bond. I would like to entertain any questions at this time.
Hearing none.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're now ready for 7.02, Dr. Underwood.
Good evening, President Ragland, members of the board, and Dr. Hoover. Tonight, I'm presenting a resolution related to the establishment of Cultural Institutions Fund as part of our 2026 budget planning process. This resolution is brought forward in accordance with our policy 6220 and aligns with the statutory provisions for including a Cultural Institutions Fund as a component of our overall financial plan. The Cultural Institutions Fund allows for continued support of local institutions that provide educational and cultural value to the community consistent with our mission and expectations outlined in state statute. This resolution formally establishes the fund within the 2026 budget framework and permits the allocation of property tax revenue as authorized for this purpose. This is the first step in this process. We'll be bringing this back for a recommendation for approval at the next board meeting, but happy to entertain any questions that you might have.
This is similar to like the art fund that we have.
Yes, it's very similar. The tax rate is the exact same as that and the Historical Society Fund as well.
Okay. And Dr. Hoover, what are some things that you foresee that we might be able to utilize some of these resources for?
Yeah, so I think there are lots of opportunities for these funds. Probably the biggest is guaranteed field trips, like core experiences for students to go to museums and cultural institutions that would tie into their curriculum. This could be such that all the expenses for those trips for students would be covered, so.
And can cover transportation cost?
It can cover transportation cost. The institution would receive the money, and they could build like a field trip package for us to transport all third graders, for example, to a museum. Then they would cover the transportation cost, whether it's us or someone else that's providing that transportation. Yeah.
questions?
Dr. Underwood, you and Robin, killing it. We sat through a budget meeting and you answered a lot of questions, and I really appreciate you. I couldn't do it. That numbers drive me bananas. And the fact that you can do it and do it so well, and we have the funding that we have, a lot of it turns right back to having the money to do stuff. We are in a very good financial position, especially when you compare ourselves, not that we should compare ourselves to other school districts, but we are way ahead of the curve. And I encourage you to hold the line, brother.
Appreciate it.
Things are going to get worse. We're going to get cut some more. Just hold the line, okay? Good, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. You and Robin both, thank you so much.
I do have a question. Dr. Hoover, and looking at this, and thank you so much, Dr. Underwood, maybe I should address it to you, I apologize. When we see the word cultural institutes, right, and of course with just some language that had to be changed months ago, whether it's on the state level or national level, what institutes, cultural institute, if you will, when you see that word? Like, what I would think it could be totally different. So could you give us some examples as to what institutions here?
You want to hear it?
Sure. So it's for any institution, and it's set out in statute, and this is just the first part of it, but any association that's within our county that provides a service that we would deem to provide educational or benefits culturally within our community. So it's kind of a broad term, and there are specific statutes and specific criteria in order to earn those funds, but I think that's why it's such a broad term.
Yeah.
Something like World War II, the museum.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It says some examples that it gives: galleries, museums, facilities, anything that provides educational and cultural contributions from that institution to a student.
And it has to be within Vanderburgh County.
It does. They have to have a permanent location in the municipality and no general taxing authority qualify as well. So.
Is there any way to ask for a waiver for that? What I'm thinking of is Lyle Station. I think that would be great.
Oh, so that you could go,
Yeah.
so that we could take them outside.
We could find out if there could be a,
Sure. Be glad to.
Thank you, and now I'm ready to move into the presentation of the
Perfect. So excited to bring this to you this evening. Again, some thank yous to the board members who were able to meet in small groups last week to get the first look and ask questions. Some other thank yous that we need to provide. The budget is a big process. It's our financial plan for the entire year. A lot of people put a lot of work into this. So I'd like to thank Michelle and her team in HR, Steve Scheller and his team putting together the capital projects plan, and Ryan Williams in bus transportation as well, putting together the required bus replacement plan. Those are all big components of the budget. Special thank you to Robin, who both of us have been putting in some work to put this together since just after the first of the year. So thank you very much. So first look at the budget for this year. It's the same format that this has been in prior years. The first thing we're going to ask is approval for the funds in the budget. And this slide looks the same as it did last year and the year before, with the exception of the Cultural Institutions Fund, which was just presented to you for approval. So we will be asking for the authority for establishment of those funds and the funds that go along with them. Assumptions to put the budget together. So one of the difficult things about doing a budget is our budget is on a calendar year. We receive our revenue, our primary source of revenue, on a fiscal year, and we operate on a school year. So trying to align all three of those calendars at the same time makes it a little bit difficult. So you have to put some assumptions together, one being enrollment. And enrollment is a big assumption for us because that's the lion's share of the revenue that we receive from the state. So we're predicting and using history that our enrollment is going to be flat, but if that were to change, that would definitely have an impact on our budget as well. Curriculum resources is a new change where it is now purchased through the education fund, and the revenue that we receive for that is embedded within our basic tuition support. So that would be a change for this year. And then finally, the impact of circuit breaker. I've brought information to this board over the years about circuit breaker and circuit breaker loss for us, and that number has been in the $9 to $10 million range. The estimate this year is getting closer to $17 million. Now, I don't anticipate that number. I'm certainly hoping that number isn't accurate. If it is, then we definitely will have to make some decisions along the way. Looking at our education fund revenue, again, this is our lion's share of our revenue is based on some factors in our basic tuition support. So money that we receive for every student, along with complexity. Complexity is the amount of money that we receive for students in poverty. The academic performance grant, students receiving an honors diploma, as well as special education, which is based upon the needs of the student, career and tech ed based upon the courses that they're taking, and the non-English speaking grant as well. Dollar figures are tied to this. So our estimate for this fiscal year is at $189.6 million. When you look at our total education fund revenue, our basic grant and then our miscellaneous reimbursements, things like transfer tuition or summer school reimbursement are embedded in that as well, bringing our total revenue at $194 million. When you look at the expenditures that are permissible from the education fund, it's everything that you would think of that an education fund stands for. It's salaries and benefits for teachers and principals and nurses, everything that goes inside our classroom to help our students. A pie chart breakdown of those. So when you look at those expenditures, the budget is estimated to be $194 million. Almost 97% of that is in our people, in salaries, wages, and insurance and benefits. So we truly invest in our people. That's where the money goes that we receive from the state. Along with other purchase services and supplies, really, there's not that much money after looking at what it gets invested in our people. Moving to the operations fund, this is driven primarily by our local property taxes and miscellaneous taxes there within, followed by local revenue sources and education fund transfers, which are permitted by statute. Looking at what our revenue is estimated to be. Yes.
The proposed increase in excise tax that's been talked about, would we benefit from that?
It's to be seen. I think the impact would be felt more in the property tax caps. Our local property tax caps, which is our growth quotient, which was 4% this past year, miscellaneous taxes, local revenue sources of $17 million, and then our education fund transfers of $22 million. And if you remember, years ago when we moved from the old general fund and bus replacement and bus transportation, about $30 million worth of expenditures were transferred from the general fund into the education fund without revenue to support those. So which is why school districts in the state of Indiana, all public school districts, are permitted to transfer revenue, state revenue, to cover those expenses. Expenses for the operations fund, everything that you would think of that it would cost to operate a school district. Samples are salaries and benefits for human resources and business affairs and capital projects, supportive services, and bus transportation would all be included in those, as well as money for insurance and daycare, utilities, and vendor services as well. A pie chart breakdown of what those expenses would look like. Again, even in our operations fund, we are a service-driven organization. 2/3 of the money goes to fund our employees within this fund. Capital projects plan. This is a 3-year plan that's required by statute that Steve and his team put together. And this is a listing of everything, if we had unlimited funds, that Steve would do to renovate and improve and do all of the work that needs to be done in a school district. And so some of the things that would be included in that plan, renovation and construction, repair and maintenance, but things like utilities also. And then we also have a provision to pay for technology out of there. So Joe's people that work and repair our computers can also be paid from there. Dollar figures associated with the operations fund with capital projects. So some of these are fixed cost, utilities being one of them at $4.6 million. That's been set in statute for many number of years, but I can tell you that we spend closer to $7 million. so it doesn't cover it all. Same thing for skilled labor. That has been a set in statute for years, and we pay more than that as well.
Can I ask a question about this?
Yes.
Notice under utilities, do we receive any revenues from our solar fields that we have, I believe at Plaza and SIGTech, yeah?
I think what we've really done is contained those costs so that they haven't increased. The money is offset by what it would have cost us.
Are we still buying, like, for energy and stuff, so much pipeline, I mean, in advance? We're buying it where we've locked it in at a certain price? We're doing that? Okay.
We do the same thing for bus transportation as well. We regularly monitor those prices, and when the timing is right, we go ahead and lock in. We've been able to save money over the years doing that. So this is our bus replacement plan. It's a 5-year plan that's required in statute that Ryan and his team put together. And this, again, is what the plan would call for if we were to replace our buses. This year it would be just over $12 million. The fair market lease is an amount that we are able to include in there to pay our contract drivers based upon the value of the machines that they have. Again, knowing full well that this is not money that we are going to collect. I've said this over the years. Bus transportation and capital projects really do get impacted by circuit breaker loss, and if the circuit breaker loss does increase like it's being estimated to be, then a lot of this will have an impact for those programs. We got the Art Institute Fund that is housed within the Operations Fund. We fund the EVSC Arts Association. The budget is at $375,000. I anticipate receiving less than that. In the past, it's been about just over $300,000 a year, and I would anticipate that to be the same this year. Same for the Historical Society, which is also within the Operations Fund. Same tax rate as well. I would anticipate receiving just over $300,000, and we pass that money along to both of those entities. Here's the Cultural Institutions Fund. So this is very similar to the prior two funds. The tax rate is the same. The only difference is this is outside of the Operations Fund. It will be its own standalone. So being the first time that we've included this, we set the budget higher just to make sure that we do capture all of the potential revenue that we would collect, and then we will pass that along to institutions that seek the money. Our debt service is listed here. Our debt service regular is listed at $18.8 million. We'll say on this one thing, one of the along with property tax caps, some of the Senate enrolled acts that went through the General Assembly this year, we are estimated to lose nearly $800,000 of cash balance in this fund. As all school districts are going to have some sort of an impact, I think a scary thing is many of them aren't going to be able to withstand that, and will have to make some serious pivots within their school districts. We will not be in that case. It will have an impact for us. We will be able to plan around this, but if it continues along this way, we will have to make some decisions down the road if it doesn't change. This is our debt service, exempt debt service, which is our referendum, set at $16 million, same as it was last year, and we are very close to retiring that debt. Rainy Day Fund, we include this in our budget as part of the budget planning process. We are not asking for additional monies. These are monies that we already have. We're just asking for the authority to spend those dollars as part of the budget should it be needed. We do not anticipate having to use these funds, but it's just part of our budget planning process. And here's a look at the budget in its entirety. We have an advertised budget in the left-hand column and what we anticipate in the right-hand column. We follow the DLGF practice of advertising our budget high to collect the revenue, but we know full well that we will not collect all of this, which is reflected here, looking at rainy day and then some of the balances within capital projects and bus replacement as well. Showing you a full financial picture here. Listed below are the property tax caps from DLGF. That's a very large number. And these are the next steps. So we will post this presentation to our website tomorrow. We'll follow that up at the next board meeting, asking permission to advertise our capital projects plan and bus replacement plan and post everything to Gateway as part of statute, followed by our meeting for public hearing, and then followed by adoption at our last meeting in September. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I got a comment and a couple of questions. So I'd like to thank you and your entire team and Dr. Hoover and Dr. Smith for really putting us in a good financial footing as we move forward. I think we're well positioned, so thank you for that. We throw these terms around, but I know, just so everybody, explain what the circuit breaker means. That's going to affect us. Yes. And then also, how do you think TIF districts affect us and how much we can actually generate?
So first, to address the circuit breaker. Circuit breakers were put into statute several years ago. And in essence, what it does is it caps the amount of money that local property tax payers are going to pay, whether you be residential, commercial, or agricultural. And so for local, just for residential, it's capped at 1% of the assessed value of your home. So if you have a $200,000 home, you're capped at $2,000 worth of property taxes that you're going to pay that year. Local property tax entities, such as the school district or the library or the city and county, that need to raise taxes to support their budgets, once they hit a certain level, that money is not passed along to them. So that's what's called the property tax cap. And so you have to fund your budget, or you are not going to be able to fund the budgets that you need based upon those losses. TIF districts seem to go on for quite a while, and what happens is the revenue that a local taxing unit would normally receive is shielded from that TIF district. So all of the assessed value and all of that growth that would reside within that TIF district is shielded from the assessed value being passed along through as property taxes to those taxing units. So you've shrunken your tax base, even though it's still there.
Doesn't it, it just defers it, doesn't it? It allows the area to grow so that later on it'll pay right? Am I right?
It's a mechanism for that unit to raise money to support whatever it is, the planned project, and it shields it from everyone else.
Well, is it not with the intention that when it grows, it's going to be able to produce more revenue?
Yes, they just tend to go on for many years.
To a point, I understand, but yeah.
Through employment.
You're going to get some of it back, at least, if not all, correct?
There's a mechanism where we can accept pass-through if they're not going to use all of the growth. It just hasn't happened.
Yeah, and the problem is for infrastructure within that TIF district, and just like think about the Lloyd Expressway, they're always fixing it, so they're always going to use that potential TIF money. It'd be great if they ended, and there it is, they fixed it now, maybe the property tax we can get would be more, but they just
give us barrel money.
Yeah. One other thing, though, I want to actually thank the state, because I remember, and several board members, when we didn't receive our money, we had to borrow money because they were paying us late. If you remember that, we'd have to go bond it and borrow the money to pay bills and hope we got the money from the state. So at least it's been on a good course for a while, so.
Well, I have a question, Dr. Underwood, and thank you very much for this. I think it was page number 3 or number 4, the basic tuition support complexity grant. Yes, that right there. Do you anticipate any changes in that? Because I know you talked about that particular grant services a different population, which we know the poverty level, which is SNAP and TANF, and correct me if I'm wrong in saying that. Do you anticipate any changes in that with the anticipation of family members, unfortunately, that could be potentially discontinued from that services?
I don't over the next fiscal year because those are calculated in arrears, but it could have an impact in 18 months on the budget.
Thank you. Well, I asked you that.
So my question was, when you were defining the circuit breaker caps on local property tax, and the 1% assessed value, I mean, schools don't get that full 1%, right? Isn't it like $1 of that or something, or?
It depends on the fund or the tax that you're using. The property tax caps really are the amount of money that all taxing units lose because they're hitting those property tax caps. So if there's revenue that is needed that exceed that 1%, that's where the true loss takes place.
Any other questions?
One more.
Yes.
So when you say 18 months, is that 18 months from September 22nd?
It's 18 months from this past July 1.
Past July, okay, okay, thank you for clarifying that for me, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. And as you've seen, the next steps and the dates that we will present the budgets. So now moving on to point 8, Dr. Hoover, continued business.
Yeah, so I would like to start by thanking teachers, staff, really all of the EVSC team, students, families, and our community for such a great start to the school year. Jason showed some pictures. It really did feel like a community effort around and excitement around getting kids back in school. There were a lot of events that Thursday and Friday prior to students coming back. I went to several, and the team here went to several, and they were so positive, just families coming in with school supplies and students finding their lockers and putting things under their desk and meeting their teachers. And schools had, Austin had a cookout, picnic in his gym, and other schools had bounce houses and table setups where students and families could sign up for community, like they could join Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, they could sign up for Taekwondo, they could sign up for clubs inside the school. So really a fun couple days leading up to school. On the first day of school, I did continue the tradition of riding a school bus, and so I was on Bob Irick's bus in West Terrace District, and that was a fun morning, and he did such a great job with the littles. He greeted every student by name when they got on the bus. He had talked to their families ahead of time. They knew exactly where to go to sit, and so that was a neat experience. Seems like this year the big thing was water bottles. Like kiddos really liked, everyone had a little water bottle if they were bringing into school. I do have a story from the first day of school. I want to read this to you because you know, there are fun things that happen every day, and people are going above and beyond. And this is just something cute. A little girl at Highland lost a tooth, and the assistant principal's name is Rachel Hubry. So I want to read a letter that Miss Hubry wrote to the Tooth Fairy. Dear Tooth Fairy, today was Henley's very first day of kindergarten, and what a memorable one it turned out to be. During lunchtime in the cafeteria, Henley lost a tooth. Unfortunately, in all the excitement, the tooth was accidentally dropped and could not be found, despite the valiant and determined efforts of several staff members. As a trained assistant principal and a longtime friend of the Tooth Fairy, I can officially verify that Henley did, in fact, lose a tooth at school today. I have personally observed the new gap in her smile and can confirm the tooth is truly missing. Please accept this letter as a formal documentation of Henley's lost tooth and kindly honor it with your usual tooth to treasure exchange. If you have any questions, you may contact me at the school using the address and phone number listed above. Thank you for your continued partnership in celebrating magical milestones like this one. With admiration for your sparkly work, Rachel Hubry, Assistant Principal, Highland Elementary. And so that was posted on Facebook, and I got the parents' permission to share that. But just, you know, there's so many fun things happening in school. And,
Sound like Shoulders wrote it.
I know, that's a great Tooth Fairy letter, right?
You gonna leave us hanging? I mean, did you get
I assume she got the whatever the gift was from the Tooth Fairy. More of our schools last week had open houses, and for the next 2 weeks we'll continue to have some back to school events for students, and so those will be fun and ongoing. Also, I want to thank Trinisha Brooks. She's EVSC's Director of Community Schools and Family Engagement. She presented at Rotary last week and talked about family engagement and our after-school programming. So that was very nice, just in getting out in the community and talking about things going on in EVSC. And then finally, we've talked about iRead a little bit, and I've told you all it's going to be good news. That good news does continue. On Friday, Secretary of Education Jenner was reaching out and invited 3 of our schools at EVSC to the state board meeting this Wednesday to be part of the official release because we had such high growth. So very excited. Dexter, Fairlawn, and Glenwood have been invited to go, and we're going to take a group up there, and there'll be a release on Wednesday, and then we'll be able to share in detail the good news. So yeah, it's exciting. That's it for continued business for me. Thank you.
Any board members?
The only thing I want to say, I was thinking about this today. I was at lunch today, and I was thinking to myself, I know Mike and I both were in law enforcement. I know Melissa, you were in the military. A lot of times we'd be out, and people would come up to us and say, hey, thank you so much for your service. We've had that a lot. And I was just thinking, because where I eat, there's always a lot of teachers, and I'm just thinking to myself, and it may happen, but I just hope the community understands the service that teachers and everybody who works in these schools are providing to our most valuable resource. And what they do changes the lives, but also impacts the entire community. So on behalf of the board, I really want to say sincerely, thank you for your service in this upcoming year.
We have no artwork, but we do have some students here. If you will come forward, please, and speak into the mic real loud, your name and your school. We would appreciate that.
Congratulations. That's great. You're all ready. That's what I was going to say.
Hi, my name is Catherine Ripke. I go to North High School and I'm a senior.
My name is Jack Jones. I go to North High School. I'm also a senior.
I'm Lucian Hubert. I go to North High School and I'm also a senior.
My name is Garrett Hum, and I go to North High School and I'm also a senior. I'm Jackson Burns. I go to North High School and I'm also a senior.
Hi, my name is Brandon Pierce. I go to North High School, and you might not believe this, but I too am a senior.
You still have to go tomorrow.
Appreciate your presence.
I just have one thing I want to say, and Dr. Hoover, thank you so much for bringing attention to that with the iRead. I just want to applaud not only the schools, but the parents and definitely the students. We talk always about the preparation of it, right? And then, sometimes there's anxiety, and then community members come together and give water and granola bars and all those wonderful things. But I think the aftermath is really what this is about. And so I personally just want to applaud.
I was reading in reference to the high temperatures, and it was kind of a funny post that someone had said. They said, if you are coming to my house, bring a jacket. We keep the air set on morgue. It's like 95, sorry, my car today. If there's nothing else to come before the board, we are adjourned. Thank you.